Hey guys, the older you get, the smarter you'll think I am. You know, I bet I heard that Jim from my dad 50 times growing up, and every time he would deliver it with a smile as if he knew something I didn't, which of course he did. Well, it sounded pretty silly to a teenage boy, but as I grew older, it became really profound wisdom. But I'm not your dad, and this isn't necessarily profound, but here's one for you younger men and women who love to shoot. That great eyesight you have right now, it's just on loan. But don't get discouraged. There are some things you can do to keep shooting after your eyes change. Stick with me. Hi, George here with Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting, and we'll spend some time at the range. And occasionally we'll reconvene here in my shop or at our farm in Louisiana, where I'll build and share some fun toys, and we'll have an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. But in this video, I'll share with you the struggles I had as my own eyes made the transition from sharp pinholes of impetuous youth to portals of wisdom. And if you stick with me to the end of the video, I'll share my next project, the one that really got me thinking about this issue of aging eyes and the devastating effect it has on our passion. I Googled it. It's called presbyopia. Ah, the internet, where one can rant without fear or become an expert with just a couple of clicks of the mouse. But we'd be wise to consider the message of that great Gershwin tune from Porgy and Bess. It ain't necessarily so. Now that message was misapplied to the good book, but it's sure spot on when it comes to the internet. And with just a couple of clicks of the mouse, I don't propose to be an expert on presbyopia. But that's not what's important. What's important is the inevitability of your eyes changing as you get older. So be prepared and don't despair when it comes. We'll talk about it. But come it does. And I've tried to put together some illustrations here to show the phenomena. When you're youngish, it's common to be able to see sights and target at the same time. And that's what I called the on loan stage. And by the way, I'm taking some liberties here. These images are just a crude attempt on my part to show what happened to my eyes as I made the transition from young eyes to not so young eyes. But nonetheless, everyone's eyes are going to change. In the beginning, it's manageable. And I'd call that the transition phase. You're still able to go to the range and shoot, but you can see those sights are starting to blur a little bit. But eventually it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to discern a usable sight picture without optical correction. When it started happening to me, I found myself shooting less and less, until my pistols, if they had feelings, would have felt like that Dragon Puff when Jackie Paper came no more. There's one for you. So I got into long-range shooting and precision reloading and really enjoyed that. But I missed the simplicity of shooting my pistols and open-sighted rifles at steel targets and tin cans and rocks and heck, any inanimate object that had a safe backstop. Whether it was a friend or a fellow shooter or lucky guess on my part, I don't remember, but sometime 20 years ago, I went to the drugstore and I bought a pair of large lens low power readers, and I headed off to the range. My hope was that the low power readers would allow me to see my sights well enough without totally fuzzing out the target. Well, those big lenses weren't necessarily safety, but they were big and they were ugly, and the range officer let me slide. And you know what? The clouds parted for me that day. Because for the first time in years, my aim was more than just pointing at center of mass. I could actually see the sights on that 1911 well enough to use them. Fortunately, today there are better options than big ugly readers from the drugstore. Oh wait, those are my big ugly readers from the drugstore. Today I use safety glasses from Elvex. They're the Elvex RX500C model, and they have really large center magnification areas that allow you to, that work with almost any shooting posture. Unfortunately, I can't give you an exact formula for what strength readers to get for your particular eyes, but I can tell you this as a guideline. I use 2.0 readers for my normal arm's length work, and for my shooting glasses, I got 1.0 magnification safety glasses. Okay, let me cut in here for just a minute. Ever since I recorded this video back in February, and that's been about 5 months, I've been bombarded by ads from SSP Eyewear promoting their own version of magnified shooting glasses. And so I thought, gosh, I better get a pair, and if it makes sense, I'll try to roll some footage into my original video. And so I bought them, and sure enough, they came in, and I was surprised to find that they come as a kit. And the kit includes not only the clear lenses, but also the yellow lenses and gray lenses. Now the big question is, what's the difference between the SSP glasses and the Elvex glasses? Well, the Elvex glasses, if you remember just from a minute ago, have a large magnification area here in the center. They're basically magnifying glasses, and the SSP glasses that I just put on have got small areas right here at the top of the lens that are magnifiers. And so it's like upside down bifocals, you know, where you always want your bifocals at the bottom of the lens. Is that going to work for shooting? I don't know. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to step over here a few feet to my left, and I'm going to do some shooting, and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, these glasses are awesome. It's a little distracting to have this bifocal line right here in your field of view, but I could get used to that for shooting. And for a lot of people, not having to look through magnified lenses when you don't need it would be helpful. But there is a downside. May not apply to everyone, but it certainly applies to me. And that downside is that, and just FYI, there's no cameraman here. When I want to shoot left-handed, my sights are actually outside of the magnified area of the SSP lenses, using my normal shooting posture. With the Elvex readers, or the Elvex glasses, no matter where I put my sights and how I turn my head, I've got magnified sights. And so if I had to choose between the two, they're both great glasses, but if I had to choose between the two, it would be Elvex for me. But I'm not going to send back my SSP glasses either. So, with that said, you'll just have to try and see what fits for you. And now, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. I hope this was helpful. I can't do anything about the sad ending for that dragon in the old Peter, Paul, and Mary song. But for me, discovering how readers make shooting with aging eyes possible reopen an entire segment of shooting that I had been missing for way too long. Now that's a happy ending. As I mentioned earlier, the inspiration for this video came when I was working to upgrade the sights on my 60-year-old Marlin Model 39A Mountie. It had been topped with a scope for way too long. Shoot good? Yes. Look good? No. So after doing some research, watching a few videos, reading some reviews, it looked like the Skinner sight was the right answer for my old friend. And you can see that entire project on my next video, New Eyes for an Old Friend. Thanks, and I'll see you there. And don't forget to subscribe.